So in practical terms, what actually is changing in that process?
The biggest thing that's changing for me, and there is lots in this space in the consultation document, we'll go through all the detail. But one of the biggest things is we want the Complaints Assessment Committee, which is the very first hearing, with a panel of teachers, and people forget that, but it's teachers sitting on these panels making these decisions, to make the decisions about professional matters. That's the design. The law as it was worded in a way that everything ended up at that next stage, which was our discipline tribunal, where a chair is the lawyer with some teachers, but that makes the process very long, very costly, and the right kind of matters weren't being decided by that CAC. And so rather than saying when we get a mandatory report or a complaint, is this serious misconduct or might it be? And you've only got a little bit of information at that point and you're determining the pathway. We've flipped it on its head and we've said, could this type of matter, this thing that's happened, eventuate in the suspension or cancellation of a certificate? Because we want the discipline tribunal to be for the very serious, most serious cases, which, are really about child safety. That's what we say. Where children have been harmed or impacted severely, then it's right that it goes to the DT. But everything else should be determined by the profession, about reputation of the profession, about professional matters. That should be at the CAC. And so by saying, okay, could this and remember, we've got years of case studies, lots of things, everything that could happen is we've seen it before. And so we have a lot of evidence of the types of things that happen for
case studies from previous experience. Yeah.
And so we're really confident that we'll be able to say, actually, that kind of thing would never end up in suspension cancellation. Gets determined at the CAC.